I'm Keith Olbermann, and this is The Resistance. Donald Trump has declared war on the legal system, moved to overrule the spirit of the Constitution, and enacted a coup against the ideals of the United States of America. And at this hour, one of two things is already and irretrievably underway: either the end of Trump or the end of American democracy, because both cannot continue. Because simply, you cannot fire the man who is investigating you. It is axiomatic, it is simple, it is eternal, it is proven. You cannot fire the man who is investigating you. Even the dumb people will understand what you are trying to get away with, no matter what excuse you provide, no matter who you get to agree with you, no matter what you think it will accomplish for you, no matter what you think it will protect you from, no matter if you are the President of the United States and the man you have fired might be guilty of something. You cannot fire the man who is investigating you. To do so is to inherit the wind. To do so is to immediately and irreversibly take whatever problems you face, whatever investigations you have to suffer, whatever crimes you may or may not have already committed, and to magnify and multiply them by a number so large it almost cannot be counted. You cannot fire the man who is investigating you. It is, by itself, a cover-up. Not just part of an already extant cover-up, not another drop in a bucket of corruption and dishonesty. It is an entirely new bucket. Donald Trump fired the man who was investigating him. That by itself, without further explanation, without further evidence, that alone immediately is a cover-up. Donald Trump should be impeached as president today for this one act. No Russian collusion needs now to be proved. No financial records need to be assayed. No Michael Flynn, no Carter Page, no Paul Manafort, no Ambassador Kislyak, no Steele dossier, no Trump tapes, no Eric Trump tapes, no Pence tapes, no hacking, no sanity hearing, no $100 million golf course dollars from Russia, no last-minute Comey requests for a larger Russian investigation budget. You cannot fire the man who is investigating you. Trump is effectively guilty today of an impeachable offense, and if enough of the Republican members of the House and Senate are anything other than political whores and the fully owned lick-spittles of corporations and other special interests, Trump will be impeached. Within 2 hours of Trump's strategically inexplicable blunder, the Republican Congressman Justin Amash of Michigan tweeted, "My staff and I are reviewing legislation to establish an independent commission on Russia. The second paragraph of this letter is bizarre." Amash referred to this in Trump's dismissal notice to James Comey. "While I greatly appreciate you informing me on 3 separate occasions that I am not under investigation, I nevertheless concur." Bizarre is an understatement. This is suicidal. Trump simply says, "I am not under investigation." He never mentions under investigation for what. Further, there is no evidence Comey ever told him anything of the sort, or that Comey made a distinction to him between an investigation of his campaign and of him personally. James Comey testified last week that the FBI is coordinating with 2 prosecutors, one at the Department of Justice and one being the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, in their investigations of possible collusion between Trump's campaign team and the Russian government. The non-mainstream observer Claude Taylor had claimed there was already a Trump-Russia grand jury sitting near Washington, and CNN reported on Tuesday night that indeed there was a grand jury in Alexandria, Virginia, and that it had issued subpoenas to associates of Michael Flynn, quote, in recent weeks. It is fair to assume that some part of that news was what got James Comey fired. Whether or not, in his hazy grasp of reality, Trump really thought he could somehow put the Russian toothpaste back into the FBI tube. He clearly thought, CNN reported this Tuesday night, he clearly thought there would be no political blowback. Trump's ham-handed, falsely lighthearted tweets Wednesday morning about when things calm down and how Republican and Democrat alike will be thanking him confirm this. His next round of tweets criticizing the Vietnam service controversy of a little-known senator without remembering that that would also invoke his own 5 deferments from Vietnam, confirmed the mixture of rage and panic that had been reported earlier, that he had raged over how much television coverage Comey was getting, and that he had been screaming at television coverage of his Russian scandal and Comey's refusal to make it all disappear. At minimum, somebody told this unstable president, or he told himself, that any fallout would be less damaging to him than would be letting Comey proceed. This is not true because of the simplicity of the only takeaway from this naked power grab. You cannot fire the man who is investigating you. So we have a Tuesday night massacre for our times. And for those of you who always wondered what it felt like to live through Watergate, welcome. That catch in the throat, that intake of breath that does not go all the way through, that repeated sensation that the future of the democracy in this country rests not on the events of an administration nor a year nor a month, but rests on those of the next few weeks. That is what October 20th, 1973 felt like. Richard Nixon had been able to get a new Attorney General approved by the Democratic Senate only when that Attorney General, Elliot Richardson, swore to name a special Watergate prosecutor. On Saturday, October 20th, 1973, Nixon decided that the prosecutor, Archibald Cox, had to be fired. The Attorney General would not do it and resigned instead. The Deputy Attorney General would not do it. Nixon fired him. The third man at the Justice Department, the Solicitor General, he fired Cox. When the sun rose that beautiful Saturday morning, Richard Nixon may have had enough political capital, enough House and Senate support, enough public approval to survive. When the sun rose the next morning, most of that was gone. Politically, he was a dead man walking, because you cannot fire the man who is investigating you. Republican Representatives Amash, Comstock of Virginia, Corbeil of Florida, and Senators Burr, Corker, Flake, and McCain had by breakfast made correct and patriotic responses to the crisis. Nevertheless, it may require still more evil from Trump to shake the remaining disloyal or disbelieving Republican political whores loose from the tree. But if the Comey firing does not do that, sadly, Trump will provide that evil at some point, and even the Republicans will then abandon him. But will they abandon him in time? You cannot fire the man who is investigating you, because the next man will now also have to investigate you for that. Whether ours shall continue to be a government of laws and not of men, read the entirety of Archie Cox's statement after Nixon fired him in 1973, is now for Congress and ultimately the American people. Resist. Peace.